ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ 15th Karika. अन्यथा गृह्णतः स्वप्नः निद्रा तत्त्वमजानतः विपर्यासे तयो क्षीणे तुरीयं पदमश्नुते 16th. अनादिमायया सुप्तः यदा जीवः प्रबुध्यते अजमनिद्रमस्वप्नम् अद्वैतं बुध्यते तदा. So Bhashyakara says on page 60, page 60, and that is third line in Bhashyam. Atah tayoho कार्यकारणस्थानयोः अन्यथा ग्रहण तत्व अग्रहण लक्षण विपर्यासे कार्यकारण बंध रूपे परमार्थ तत्व प्रतिबोधतः क्षीणे तुरीयं पदम अश्नुते तदा उभयलक्षणं बंधनं तत्र अपश्यन् तुरीये निश्चितो भवति इत्यर्थः. So we saw even 16th Karika, I know, but since we are doing after a long break, so I'm just little revising what we have done. So in the first line of this 15th Karika, Gaudapada Acharya pointed out that this Vishwa contains two unreal factors in the form of a self-ignorance and self-misconception, and it is beginningless. So, Taijasa also consists of both self-ignorance and misconception. Naturally, ignorance will definitely give rise to a misconception. We call adhyaropa, adhyasa, etc. Same thing, error. And prajna consists of one unreal factor, and that is ignorance. So, this is the first three padas, right? Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. Ignorance and misconceptions are there, and both of them are unreal, mithya. Mithya means you are going to experience them, but they don't have a reality. So that is how every experience involves two factors. Every experience, practically every experience involves these two factors. Any experience, either within, either without. Within experiences could be anything. You experience a hunger, thirst. You experience in terms of concepts of time, space. Time, etc. is not a external thing. It's all concept. Space also is like that. So anyway, so these are basically and dream also. So internal experiences and external experiences. That is, external experiences then definitely involves a waker. Internal experiences, a dreamer. So any experience involves, or even let's say now a particular experience, a experience which doesn't involve any particular experience. That's also experience, and that is a deep sleep state, right? You don't have any particular experience. That kind of experience. That's how three states of experience only. And any state of experience involves two factors: unreal, real. And unreal factor, due to this ignorance, is taken as real. That is adhyaropa. Real factor is not known, ignorance, and then unreal factor is taken real. That's called adhyaropa, upon the real. When adhyaropa happens due to avarana shakti of this self-ignorance, right? Due to avarana shakti of the self-ignorance, there will be a covering, concealing of the real, and there will be also a superimposition of unreal upon real. That's called vikshepa shakti. So this is how whole life is. Whole life means all three experiences: waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. Waking, dream, and deep sleep experiences, and that involves two. So this Mandukya takes these experiences of three states and gives a knowledge of the real factor, which because of and due to that you will be able to recognize that real factor. Not that you experience it. In any experience, real factor is there. Without that, unreal factor will not be experienced. But anyway, so real factor you don't know, you experience all the time. That's a witness, etc. You know, Turiya, we call here Turiya. So Vishwa, Tejas, Prajna, all these three are ultimately Turiya alone. With this, like a snake is rope alone, snake rope mixture alone. That's how Vedanta Sara explains, Sadananji. So all these three are Turiyam with these two unreal factors, namely ignorance and misconception. And once we remove this, then Vishwa is a Turiyam, Taijasa is a Turiyam, Prajna is a Turiyam, and what is there alone is Turiyam, because they are all Mithya. There cannot be Vishwa without self-ignorance and Adhyaropa. There cannot be Taijasa without self-ignorance and misconception. And there cannot be a deep sleeper, Prajna, without self-ignorance, right? And therefore, basically, all the reality is ultimately there is a rope, no snake, right? Yeah, you can say, if you want to continue to say, well, that there are two things and it is a rope snake mixture, you can say that. Definitely, if you want to say. You can say, well, wave water. You can say pot clay. Because you say, no, what I experience, I just don't want to say, I will not take the name of that also, I don't want to do. Okay, then say mixture. That's called Viveka Jnana. But you know that ultimately the reality is either a clay or a gold or whatever. Here it is a Turiya alone. So that way, so in a case of ignorance, you mix up. What is a mixture? You mix up and say one. Now you separate here cognitively. So viparyase kshine. So viparyasa means these two unreal factors. Kshine, when they go away. Go away means you will understand mithya. So viparyase kshine sati turiyam padam ashnute, etc., etc. One will realize. Pashakara says one will understand turiya. So ataha tayoho, in that bhashyam, ataha tayoho karya karana sthanayoho. In this karya sthanam, and karya means Vishwa and Taijasa, and karana sthana is a prajna, and sthani is atma. Sthanam asya asti iti sthani. Sthani is turiya. Sthanam is Vishwa Taijasa prajna. So this is karya sthana, karana sthana. Karana sthana, prajna. That sthana, sthani is a turiya, sthanam is a prajna. So, karya sthana, jagrita sthana, it is already in the mantra. Jagrita sthana, and it is swapna sthana, and then prajna sthana, etc. So that is, sthana is that these three, jagrita, etc., Vishwa Taijasa, prajna alone. And the sthanam asya asti, it's a really Turiya sthana only. Turiya does this, this Turiya alone plays. Turiya sports in the three states like this. All the time Turiya which is there, consciousness is ever there. There cannot be a question of a non-existence of a consciousness. What obtains all the time is this consciousness alone. That is self-existing and lends existence to all the three. That is there. So consciousness is, that is everyone's experience also. All the time, even in either, whatever the state, either you say I am a waker, but you are a conscious being. You are a dreamer. Yes, I am a conscious being. Even you are say you are a sleeper, but you are a conscious being. That I and conscious being cannot go away. And therefore, all the time what exists is conscious being. Other than an ahankara, you may say, I was earlier a waker and now I was a deep sleeper and now I am a waker and I was a dreamer. That will vary. That will not have that is not self-existing. That is not that is why it is unreal. What is self-existing is real, which cannot be negated. And that alone lends existence to all the three. And therefore, that is a real, is this Turiya. So, consciousness is, consciousness is, consciousness is, consciousness is. I was child, but I was conscious being. I was a young, I was a conscious being. Now also I am a conscious being. And same I conscious being able to connect all the ahankaras. When I was a child, I is right now, but you say, no, I was a child, means same I was present there. That is a consciousness. That's the Sakshi, Turiya. That has not changed. Means it ever exists. Ever exists means definitely, naturally it is not available for any change, means it is not changing within time. That's what it is. Not changing within time, that's how it is, Nityam, etc. You can say self-existing, you can say real, unaffected by time, timeless, same thing. With I, whatever is there keeps changing, but then I continues in all the changes. I was a child, I was this, I was this. So the childhood also was belonged to I, and then the middle age also belonged to I, and the younghood belongs to I, and everything belongs to I. That means I is free from everything. Waker belongs to I, and the dreamer belongs to I, and deep sleeper belongs to I. Therefore, that I is remaining without any change in any avastha. Means that I always is. Without change means always is. Existent. Amazing. Therefore, it is unaffected by time. What is affected by time is always changing. Always changing. That is how we say. Seeing this, one definitely becomes relatively, when if whatever the clarity you have regarding the nature of the I, depending upon that, your fear of death and other things, fear of change in terms of even a old age and other things also will go away. There is something which is changing, which is unreal. There is something which is non-changing, which is real, and that is always there in any experience, because they both are non-separate. Unreal derives existence from real. Real is always ready to lend existence, is a lender of existence to unreal. Mithya Satya mixture will be always there. That's how in Adhyasa Bhasham also it started like that. Satyanrute Mithuni Karanam, right? Mithuni Kritya. So Satyanrute Mithuni Kritya. Satyam and Anutam, Mithya. Mithuni. Mithuni Karanam is saying they are together. Only thing is, due to ignorance, which is beginningless, my nature is veiled as though. In fact, ignorance shines in consciousness. Otherwise, you cannot say there is ignorance. Right? When you say there is ignorance, how do you know? I know there is ignorance. Means ignorance shines in your consciousness. And therefore, really that ignorance which shines in consciousness cannot cover the consciousness. Right? The cloud which shines in in a sunlight, that cloud cannot cover. If cloud really covers sun, then cloud itself is not seen. Then there is a question of saying cloud covers. So the cloud shines in a sunlight, and therefore that cloud, well, definitely cannot miss. The whole cloud shines in sunlight, in sun. Then that cloud cannot cover the sun. Same way, ignorance cannot be, which is mithya in fact, and therefore its existence is derived from satyam, that is turiya, sakshi. So anyway, अतः तयोः कार्य कारण स्थानयोः अन्यथा ग्रहण तत्व अग्रहण लक्षण विपर्यासे. Viparyasa means this kind of mistake. Anyatha Grahanam, you know, where that is Jagrat and Sapna. These are the terms in a Mandukya. Anyatha Grahanam and Tattva Agrahanam. Agrahanam, Anyatha Grahanam, of Tattva, of the Turiya. Agrahanam is our deep sleep. Anyatha Grahanam is basically these two, Jagrat and Sapna. Grahana Lakshana Viparyase, well, Karya Karana Bandha Rupe. So, Karya Karana Bandha Rupe, and it is in the form of Karya and Karana, which is a shackle. Taking them as a shackle. If you don't take, there is no shackle. Then all become Ishvara Sushti. Then Ishvara Sushti, we say, well, it is also a source of a cause of a bondage. No. Bondage is just due to that self-ignorance, and that you commit a mistake of taking waker as oneself. Then definitely bondage is there, because limitations are there. So I am limited. That notion arises. That's a bondage. So Karya Karana Bandha Rupe, Paramartha Tattva Pratibodhataha Kshine, Paramartha Tattva Turiya Pratibodhataha. When you know this Pratibodha, or you can say the Jnanam. So, Paramartha Tattva Jnani Sati, Kshine, this bondage will go away. You become free. Kshine Sati, Bhajite Sati, when they are negated. Pratibodhata means due to this knowledge of Paramartha Tattvam, Turiyam Padam Ashnute. He is explaining that 15th Karika. Bhashyakara explains this. Turiyam Padam Ashnute. One gains Turiya Pada. Now one attains Turiya Pada. You can understand now. In any experience, youth, free consciousness is all the time free to move in any state, right? And therefore you are already free. You are free from all the three. But basically you are not knowing and taking that unreal as the real, as yourself. And that's how you are feeling bondage all the time, right? And so that goes away. So one attains in terms of knowledge. You are already there. It's not that one really have to gain in future or something, because without Turiya, there is no experience of the childhood. There is no experience of there was no experience of a childhood. There was no experience of a younghood, or there is right now no experience possible without Turiya. Without consciousness, what experience will be there? No experience. And therefore, only attaining Ashnute, when Karika says, we have to understand that it is in form of knowledge alone. It's called recognition. That's it. So Turiya experience is all the time there. Turiya recognition happens when you study Mandukya. So study Vedanta. So tada, at the time, Jnana Kale, so Ubhaya Lakshana Bandha Rupam. Ubhaya Lakshana means both this ignorance and misconception, shackles of bondage. Tatra Pashan, well, means Turiye, in the Adhisthana Turiya. Well, this Turiya Nishchito Bhavati. Well, they are in Turiya, both these are absent. What? Self-ignorance and the misconception. Adhyasa and Ajnana, both are absent naturally. What is there is just Turiya, Advaya, without second. Absent means you please understand now that they are not really there. You may experience, that's fine. You don't give a reality anymore, because you know what is real. Once you know what is real, you understand what is unreal also. If you don't understand, don't know the real, then unreal is real for you. And then anadi maya suptaha yada jiva prabudyate ajam anidram swapnam advaitam budyate tada. That also we saw. Anadi maya. So here also, anadi maya means this same. Ignorance and adhyaropa, misconception. Both are anadi. So that's how I become ignorant. That never happens to you. I have become ignorant again. I was having knowledge of you, Swamiji, but I don't know. I became ignorant tomorrow. I become ignorant today, suppose. That never happens. You may forget. That can happen. But then somebody reminds you and they say, oh, thanks for reminding. You won't say thanks for giving me knowledge. No. That's a different thing altogether. Known is known. Therefore, ignorance cannot come again. And therefore, if ignorance come again means ignorance has begun now. No, that cannot happen. So it is anadi. If ignorance is anadi, then definitely misconception also will be anadi. So these are anadi maya. That's how. So anadi maya suptaha. He was sleeping in there naturally. So under this ignorance and that this taking oneself as a ahankara, etc. That is called deep sleep state. Yeah, deep sleep state is this. So even Swapna and Jagrat both are deep sleep state. Anadi maya supta yada jivaha prabudyate. Prabudyate, when he wakes up. Waker means, he gains knowledge of oneself. And these terms have they really make sense. So what is a waking state? Suppose if you ask in this empirical sense, when you say, well, I am aware of myself, it's a waking state. When I am not aware of myself, that's a deep sleep state. That way it is very true. Yeah. Yada jiva prabudyate. So Swamiji, prabudyate means he wakes up. But here your waking up is a gaining knowledge. Yeah. But that's true. Like that waking up means what? You know yourself, who you are. That's a waking state. When you don't know yourself, then totally. When you don't know yourself and don't know even Jagat also. That we call generally as a deep sleep state. So it makes sense to say all this. So, but then Swamiji, when you sleep, but then you have a even dream state. But that's true. That's how Adhyaropa. Adhyaropa is a dream. You take yourself to be other than what you are. When you wake up, you feel that what you were in a dream, that's not correct. You saw yourself as one who has won the jackpot, $1 billion. Suppose somebody won recently. So you see yourself other than what you are. That's called Adhyaropa. That happens due to deep sleep state, even in empirical reality, right? So therefore, both self-ignorance and Adhyaropa. I tell myself different from what I am, right? Samsari, etc. Jiva, etc. So that way, that is correct. So both are clubbed together as a deep sleep state. And here, Turiyam has been given 4 descriptions. What? Ajam, Anidram, Aswapnam, Advaitam. Anidram, without Nidra, without deep sleep, without deep sleep means without ignorance, right? Once you understand Turiya means you don't take yourself as you are aware of yourself now, reality of yourself as a Turiya. Then naturally Nidra has gone, deep sleep has gone, ignorance has gone. So it means I am free from Karana Sharira. You understand very well. I am free from ignorance, I am free from Sanchita, etc. So I am free from Kartrutvam, Bhoktrutvam, yeah, everything. Free from any Janma. So, Karana Sharira Hitam means I don't take yourself as a Jiva. One takes oneself as a Jiva endowed with this Upadhi of Karana. Then Sukshma will be, that is extension. Endowed with Sukshma also. Identifying with Sukshma. Endowed with Sthula. identified as sthula. That comes later. That is a waker and all. So, and aswapnam, anidram, then aswapnam, without dream. And dream means what? Misconception. I already told you. Anidram means you are free from ignorance. Aswapnam means you are free from misconception. Superimpositions. So you can say even sukshma sharira rahitam. So karana sharira rahitam, sukshma sharira rahitam, you can say. So ajam, anidram, anidram, aswapnam, and then ajam, without janma. And birth is always generally from the standpoint of sthula. So you can say ajam means sthula sharira rahitam. I am turiyam. I am not gross body. That's it. When you say I am not gross body, you automatically negate it, I am not waker. Yes. Because sthula abhimana, that's called waking state. We have already seen all this. So ajam means sthula shariritam. Ajam anidram aswapnam means sthula sukshma karana sharira rahitam. Not that the body etc. will disappear. You are aware of yourself. You have woken up. Really you have woken up. Telling oneself as a waker, also still he has not woken up. Still both are there. Ignorance and superimposition is there. But when in a waking state you say that I have woken up and I am turiya, then that is definitely, now you don't have a sleep. Anadi mayaya suptaha yada jivaha prabudhyate. He wakes up. Now this is called waking. Jnani understands that body etc. is mithya. So matsthani sarvabhutani nacha matsthani, Bhagavan said from that standpoint only. And so ajam anidram aswapnam, and therefore what? Advaitam. You say I am body, then dvaitam, right? When you say I'm gross body, when you say it, then definitely other gross body is there. Yeah. So he will also, you will say that he is another self, he is another self, she is another self. Then he, she, everything will come, because the body will have a male, female and all that, right? And you will say some insentient object, then you will use it. So it is different, you will say. He is different, she is different, it is different. Sentient, insentient. Everything. Because you equate, you measure that you are this. Then definitely you measure the world also. Different from yourself. So dvayam, dvaitam arises. When you say I am sukshma sharira, right, dreamer, then also the same thing. Dream objects, and you say you are different. That's how dream tiger harasses you. Right? You get fearful. So there also Dvaita. And definitely when you say I am a Karana, means when you will not be able to say that is Avyaktam. But you say I was a deep sleeper. Means you are not knowing the reality naturally. You may not have this Dvaitam. Definitely not. But then at the same time you are not able to say I am Turiya also because of ignorance. So therefore, either of the Sharira, if you identify, you will not be able to say this. I am Turiya. You have not woken up yet. So, definitely this, in a waking state, you gain knowledge. When Ahankara is there, Waker is definitely there. But you don't claim I am Waker. Understanding body, all the three bodies are Mithya. Because Vishwa, identifying with all the three, that is Vishwa. Identifying with two, Sukshma and Karana, dreamer. Identifying with only one, Karana, that is a deep sleep. You say they are me, definitely me, but I am not that. I am Advayam. I am a non-dual self. I am Brahman. Then in Bhashyam also, let's go quickly. We have seen that entire Bhashyam of this mantra, of this Karika, 16th Karika, but we will go through. Yoyam samsari jivaha saha ubhaya lakshanena tattva apratibodha rupena बीजात्मना अन्यथा ग्रहण लक्षणेन च अनादिकाल प्रवृत्तेन माया लक्षणेन स्वप्नेन मम अयं पिता पुत्रोऽयं न पुत्रः अयं नप्ता kshetram griham pashavah ahamesham swami sukhi dukhi kshaitah aham anena vartitah cha anena iti evam prakaran supnan sthanadvayepi pashyan suptah. So yoyam samsari jiva, this typical samsari jiva who is sleeping and who is identified with the body, etc., who is having ignorance and adhyaropa. So the jiva, which is universal, because the ignorance is universal. Nothing is Vyashti here. All this is universal manifestation. And that is because ultimately the samashti jnana maya is there. And that is how. So this is a universal. The jiva, one takes oneself to be an individual, either a pashu. They may not be able to say. An insect may not be able to say, I am insect. But they have an identification with their body. That's how one cow recognizes another cow, one dog recognizes another dog. That shows that they somehow, this much small recognition, a vague recognition is that I am this body. That's how dog and dog and dog and dog and cat, then different vyavara. Dog, there is sometimes different vyavara. No, but Swamiji, our dog always barks at her. Well, but ultimately they recognize that this belongs to my family, I mean my lineage, etc. So then definitely they also have this ignorance. It is all Brahmasutrakara very beautifully say. In Adhyasa Bhasham itself it is there, by Bhashyakara also says this. And then Sutrakara also, Pashvadi Vishya Visheshat, etc. So anyway, so Yoyam Samsari Jivaha Suptaha, Saha Suptaha. Well, you connect that. Yoyam Samsari Jivaha Saha Suptaha. That he is sleeping, eternally sleeping. And what is that? Anadikala Pravuttena Maya Lakshanena Suptaha. So we can say Anadikala Pravuttena, naturally, because of the sleep, that is Maya, is Anadikala Pravutta, which has been existing from beginningless time. So Jivaha Suptaha, because of that. And then, so that is self-ignorance, and then second will be self-misconception. We have to add in that word, Anadi Maya word itself. Upaya Lakshanina. That's how Bhashyakara says Upaya Lakshanina. Means Maya consists of both the forms, ignorance and adhyaropa. Error. One commits error against oneself. Pujya Swami used to say like that. One commits error against oneself, which really turns to be very, very fatal kind of a thing for the person. Yeah. If you commit a error like taking one object for the other, may not be that much damage. Like you take rope for the snake and etc. etc. That is there, and then you may get afraid, you run away. That's fine. But here you commit an error against yourself, who is always there in all experiences, but really take yourself to be different from what you are, and then you become uncomfortable. Like right now we are waker. You can understand if you compare yourself with even a just deep sleep state where you don't commit any error against yourself. You don't know yourself, that is fine, but you don't commit an error. Once you commit an error, then that particular avastha, state of experience becomes too much for us. It's like a burden kind of a thing. And that's how we get tired also, exhausted even in a waking state. And we would again like to take a nap, or we would like to take a sleep where we become free from this waking experiences and taking oneself as a waker. All waking experiences will be also waker as a real, then waking experience is real, and then we will have a lot of issues. And definitely then again when you sleep, you become free from committing an error against yourself. You don't feel samsara, that's for sure. Even though ignorance is there, but you're free from any fear and everything. So this Ubhaya Lakshanina, so this both the forms are there, ignorance and Adhyaropa. That's how Anadi Maya is, that is the meaning of that. And the first form is Tattva Apratibodha Rupena. Bhashyakara is explaining all that. First form is Tattva Apratibodha. Tattva. I am Turi or Brahman, Sakshi, etc. Well, I do not know that. And that is also available for experience, right? Self-ignorance is available for experience. When I say you are Turiya, you are Brahman, you say no. Sorry. Do you know that you are Turiya? No, I don't know. So you experience your ignorance. So you know that you are ignorant of the self. So it is available for experience. Anyway, so Tattva Pratibodha Rupena, and then the second is Anyatha, that is Agrahanam, Tattva Agrahanam. And then another will be Anyatha Grahana Lakshanena cha. And also Anyatha Grahanam is misconception, Ubhaya Lakshanena. So this is the explanation of Ubhaya Lakshanena. Anadikala Pravuttena, Maya Lakshanena. Both of them are Anadi. Both of them are together will be called Maya, which is Anadi. So is Anadi Maya, Anadi Maya ya Supta, that is being explained. Or you can say even Mula Vidya. So Mula Vidya Supta, you can say. And Sapnena. Then Bhashyakara says Sapnena. Sapnena should be connected with the Anyatha Grahanena, Lakshanena. Anyatha Grahana Lakshanena, Sapnena cha. So words are here and there, we have to combine them properly. That's also part of Maya. And then what happens once you say Anyatha Grahanam is once you take yourself to be other than what you are, right? So then what will happen? I am Mama Pita. Oh, this is my father. Because first, this is what it is. Atma, just say I am body, mind, sense complex. That's called Ahankara. And that is how this Vishwa Tejas I everything. And that is called Anyatha Grahana. That's called Ahankara. That's it. Basis is what? Self-ignorance. To say I am this, what is the basis? Self-ignorance. Even though it is available for your experience, therefore, if it is available for experience and you are an experiencer, then you should not say that I am body, because body is available for experience. Ignorance is available for experience. Your sensory perceptions, power, etc. is available for your experience. Senses. Your prana is available for experience. Everything is available for experience. And definitely they are all revealed to me, the conscious being. I am experience, ultimate experiencer. Then definitely experience cannot, what you experience cannot be experiencer, but you commit. Anyatha Grahana. And then once you say I am this, then Mamakara. That's what Bhashyakara explains. What Bhashyakara wants to say that how it creates a damage. This Anyatha Grahanam, of course, because of the self-ignorance, and because of this is which is Anadi Maya, how it is person remains a samsari. That's how he said, Yoyam samsari jiva, saha supta. He is taken as a deep sleeper. He doesn't know himself. So I am Mama Pita, this is my father. I am Mama Putraha, this is my son. All generations. I am Mama Pautra and I am Napta. Napta means great grandson, etc. So all. So, and then Pashavaha, and then, no, Kshetram. Oh, Kshetram. So this is my land, this is my real estate, right? Real estate means it is a real. I am not real, but my real estate is real. Oh, that is unreal, sir. So therefore, Pashavaha. So then Pashavaha. Pashava means animals. Oh, these are my animals. Means this is my wealth. In those days it is Pashava. And Aham Esham Swami, well, I am owner of all of them. Owner of the Kshetram, owner of the estate, owner of the cattle. And further what? Aham Sukhi, Aham Dukhi, I am happy, right? And I am unhappy. Aham Anena Kshaitaha, because of this happened, therefore, well, I have lost. Kshaita. Aham Anena Varditaha, I gained in share market, therefore I am prosperous now, etc. etc. All this, right? We say all these things. These are all our experiences. And with all experiences, introduction of ourselves, which is Anyatha Grahanam, we are not happy with. Aham Varditaha, when you say I am prosperous now because I gained something in share market, then you know the volatility of the market. and that thing happens again here and there, and then you will say, I am now, I have lost. That creates the issue, right? That creates samsara. So, iti evam prakaran swapnan. Look at that. Anyatha granam, swapna. So, iti evam prakaran swapnan. All these are nothing but our dream, long dreams. These are within long dream, we have a short dreams daily. That is there. But this is a waking up state is a long dream. Because that is a state where you say yourself other than what you are. Dreamer, of course. So both you can take, waking and dream, both you can take it as a swapna. And deep sleep is a sushupti. So sthanadvaya api jagrasthanayoho alpa swapnam, dirgha swapnam, etc. etc. We can say that. So yoyam samsari jivaha saha suktaha. So this is, he is sleeping, ignorant of himself. Then Bhashyakara says, yada, when such a person, yada, vedantartha tattva abhignena paramam karunikena guruna nasi evam tvam hetu phalatmakah kintu tattvasi iti pratibodhyamanah tada evam pratibudhyate. Anadi maya suktaha is explained, right? Such a person who is sleeping and who has this tattva agrahanam and anyatha agrahanam, who is self-ignorant and also takes oneself to be other than what he is, doing adhyaropa for oneself. And such a person, yada jivaha prabudhyate, that part is explained now. Yada vedantartha tattva abhignena paramakarunikena guruna prabudhyate, etc. Yada means because of some punyam earned in this life or his previous life, he just came in contact with Pujya Swamiji. And whole thing changed. Whole thing changed. It was moving on this side. Now just because of association with the Swami, he is going now in a different direction. First he was driving towards New York. Now he drives towards Salzburg. So this is what I tell you, you may not be able to give exact reason. You will have to say, just Swamiji, I came in contact. Some book, some talk, and you felt like that, let me attend this talk. Some friend referred, and he said, I am going to Salzburg. Do you want to come? There's an ashram there, and this. Something, some incident, that's a nimitta. Ultimately, your earning has really worked. So, Aneka Janma Samsiddha, right? Bhagavan himself said, Tato Yati Parangati. Aneka Janma Samsiddha. Preparation takes time. Yeah. Jnanam doesn't take much time. Preparation takes time. Bhagavad Gita has both the things. Yoga Shastra, Brahma Vidya. Jnanam is out there, Jnana Yogyata also is there. Yoga Shastra is a bigger topic in Bhagavad Gita. Jnanam, of course, second chapter, a few verses, 12 to 25, 27, 28, Bhagavan felt this is enough. Because his friend was crying and therefore, bete, don't cry, rub your, immediately change the topic. Whole thing, from 39 onwards, and then Bhagavan, Karma Yoga, and all preparation. Then again, because just to our friend, Sita Pragnasya Ka Bhasha, Samadhisthasya Keshava. How, in which language this your Jnani speaks? And how does he sit, and how does he walk, and how does he stand, and does he eat food, or and which language? He is using Sanskrit. Bhagavan thought, okay, some Lakshana of the Jnani, because Bhagavan felt that now he has taken Jnani as his role model. So let me describe. Again, third chapter, preparation. Karma Yoga. Fourth chapter also you will find here and there. Fifth chapter also you will find here and there. And then sixth chapter again, preparation. Nidhyasana, etc. So ultimately, seventh chapter, all vibhutis, and seventh chapter, eighth chapter, Bhagavan talks about how you should lead your life so that when you leave the body, how you will gain, you will definitely gain a good body in which you can gain a knowledge and become one with Ishvara. And 9th chapter onwards, of course, 7th chapter, of course, Vibhuti. I'm sorry, I forgot in between. 7th chapter, Bhagavan started talking about his Vibhuti. Definitely, he was not talking about Aikyam. He says, I am like this. Means, may you worship me, meditate me in form of glories, preparation. 8th chapter, of course, little different, not talking about Vibhuti, but talking about, Bhagavan said, may you lead your life so that when you leave the body, you will begin from a point where you have left. And especially in these terms. So, acquire, well, you always keep me when you transact in the world, because I am in the form of this entire world. And then Bhagavan, 9th chapter, 10th chapter, 11th, 12th also Upasana actually. All 13, 14, 15, then again Bhagavan said about Jnanam, of course. Kshetra, Kshetragna, Vibhaga, Purushat. Again 16, 17, again preparation. Whole chapter, fully. So this is how it is. So, Jnana Yogyata is also much more important. Jnana Yogyata takes time. Jnanam takes little less time. Yesterday I gave an example of a food. Food preparation takes time. Eating food doesn't take time. So raw food to convert into a palatable, mature, a palatable food, right, ready food, it takes time. Eating that food doesn't take time. So anyway, I digressed here and there. So anyway, so because of this punyam, which is, I will say, Jnana Yogyata, then you meet. Ashakara says, Yada Vedantartha Tattva Abhignena Paramakarunikena. We will see that. And so that's Yada indicates that Jnana Yogyata or Punya, etc. And Tada Pratibudhyamanaha Bhavati, means this Punya, etc. will be there, then definitely will gain knowledge, etc. with the help of Paramakarunikena Guruna, etc. And what type of a Guru? Vedantartha Tattva Abhignena, one who clearly knows a Tattva, one who clearly knows this Turiya, one who is in a process at least. Turiyam, knowing Turiyam, who is clear. One who may be in a process of removing the habitual errors also. But he is clear that he is a Brahman, he is Turiya, very clear. So that is called Brahmanishta. Committed to Brahman, already gained clarity total. Either way you can say Brahmanishta. And Vedantartha means he knows the message of Vedanta. Vedantartha means purport of Vedanta. Vedantartha Tattva Abhignena. Tattva is Vedantartha. The truth is the purport. What is the truth? Aikyam. I and Ishvara are not different. That's Aikyam. I and Brahman are not different. And so, Vedantartha Tattva Abhignena Paramakarunikena. So, Shrotriyatvam and Brahmanishtha, both is been indicated here. He knows the Tattvam, Turiyam, so Brahmanishtha, Abhignena, and Vedantartha Tattva Abhignena. Both the way you can take. Tattva Abhignena, you can take it as a Brahmanishtha. Vedantartha Tattva Abhignena means basically one who knows the purport of the Shastra, means Shrotriyatvam also you can take. So he knows to impart the knowledge. He knows how to communicate this knowledge, tradition. Because Vedanta Shastra introduces, several methods of communication. And here, generally, any communication, we have several models. But ultimately, if you see into any model, any method, you will find Adhyaropapavada. You can understand, right? This is what it is. One doesn't know oneself. One takes oneself to be different from one is. Means one takes oneself to the body, mind, sense complex. Means Adhyaropa. Right? So ultimately, either you say Shariratraya Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, ultimately it's all Adhyaropapavada only. Either in form of a Panchakosha you do Adhyaropa, either in form of a Shariratraya you do Adhyaropa. One has to be, or you say I am a waker, dreamer, etc. Right? You identified with any all the three bodies, or two bodies, or one body, but ultimately it is Adhyaropa, and that is due to self-ignorance only. So Apavada has to be done. Adhyaropa is this: one takes oneself as a Panchakosha, one takes oneself as a Shariratraya, etc. And well, you do Apavada with the knowledge. So he knows this. He has this tool. Shrotriya is the one who knows the tool of imparting knowledge, and that tool is Adhyaropapada Nyaya. And we should remember there are three types of teachers generally. In Mundaka Upanishad these kind of things are discussed. And one who is a Brahmanishtha, but he doesn't have a because he gained Brahmanishtha because of his own punya. He has listened lot before in past janmas, and due to but some avarodha he was not having that clarity, and that avarodha has gone because of the prarabdha kshaya. That avarodha has gone now, and now he says, well, I am Brahman, etc. His statements are all truth statements. But when it comes, some student comes and he says, but then may you impart me the knowledge of this, that I am Brahman. Well, he may not be. Right? So in that case, such a person we call mystic. And there you will find in many teachers, not teachers I would say, many Mahatmas in India, they were what they were saying, I am Brahman, etc., Jagat is Mithya, this, that, is true. Very well, it is said by them. But they may not be able to communicate. So therefore they are enjoying the mukti, but they cannot impart knowledge and make others free. So that way they are Madhyama Guru, we say. Yeah. One who knows that I am free, and he has this Adhyaropapada tool also to impart knowledge, able to communicate, transfer this knowledge which is here to the other head of the student, well, then he is Shrotriya. So that is Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. That is the best. Mere Shrotriyatvam is Madhyama. Brahmanishtha is even lower than that. Shrotriyatvam is also better, because at least if he doesn't have 8 nishtha because of lot of avarodha, but he knows how to communicate clearly. Communication skill is there. Then he is a Madhyama. One who has Shrotriya and Brahmanishtha, best. One who is a Shrotriyatvam, at least able to communicate to others, to impart knowledge. Sometimes it may happen so that the Guru may not be gaining Brahmanishtha, but Shishya becomes free. that can also happen. Because avarodha depend upon what type of a avarodha you have. Avarodha means basically, something of the past, papa, etc. And some vagueness or something. So he is not able to clearly say, I am Brahman. But he is able to impart knowledge very well. Communication skill is there. That's a Shrotriya. That is Madhyama. And one who is Brahmanishtha is even lower than that. We should prostrate, all the acharyas, we should prostrate. But we cannot take a refuge to one who is a Brahmanishtha. We can take a refuge who is a Shrotriya. We can take a refuge who is a Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. So, Vedantartha Tattva Abhignena Shrotriya Brahmanishtha Guruna Param Karunikena has got a compassion. When they say, then it is only due to compassion. They don't want they don't want a group of people who worship them or nothing. Just out of compassion. They just share due to compassion. Puja Swamiji always used to say, helplessly compassionate. Helplessly compassionate. He will share the knowledge because he can't remain without that. He wants others also to make them free from this pain, samsara, which really there is no cause for that other than a error on part, and that error can be corrected by giving a knowledge, because the cause of the error is ignorance. And what is the teaching of that guru who is such a compassionate? Nasi nasi eva tvam, means tvam evam na asi. What you think yourself to be, you are not. You are not what you think yourself to be. How do we think of ourselves? Well, that's what already said. Mama pita aham, this is, I am basically a possessor of all this, right? Aham kshayita aham vardhita. Oh, I gained, I lost, etc. etc. And you can, in general, you can say karta bhokta. Aham karta bhokta. Why you brought that? Because Bhashyakara says hetu phalatmakaha. Tvam evam na asi hetu phalatmakaha. You are not this hetu and phala. Okay? So you are not hetu phala means you are not, karta is a hetu, right? And bhokta is a phala. So because one does well in order to enjoy something, right? We do a lot of activities ultimately for what? To enjoy. And so hetu phala, kartrutvam is a hetu, phalam is a, that's how you are gaining this body. Gaining this body, this type of disposition, this type of parenthood. A specific childhood we have with a certain parents, gaining birth in a certain country, certain culture, right? So you enjoy that, suppose, or you experience either in terms of a pain or pleasure, right? Gaining birth. That's due to what? Doing in past, kartrutva. So again, so that karta of the past. Then you become bhokta in this life. So it is always like that. Or what you are doing now, that you will enjoy or experience, sukham or dukkham, whatever, in future. So always kartrutvam is a hetu and bhoktrutvam is a phalam. That will be a long discussion there. In the 4th chapter also it is going to come. Alata Shanti, Karika 14-15. This he is going to mention, this is samsara. All the time we remain in this. So I am a result of my past karma. I am going to be the cause of my future karma, my future experiences. Right now, what I am doing. So cause effect, cause effect, cause effect, cause effect, cause effect. This is called samsara. You can never get out of this cycle. Karma is endless, and so you can never exhaust all karma also. And if we exhaust some karma, we are going to earn fresh one. And being a karta, whatever you do becomes karma. If you take yourself as a karta, then once you say I am karta, and sorry, these karmas do not belong to me. But if you take yourself to be karta and then done by you, it's on your account. You may like or do not like, that's a different thing. And that's going to reap the result also. So one who sows reap the result also, right? So this, one can never be out of this. Karma, karma phala, karma, karma phala, karma, karma phala, continues like that. It's endless. Hetu or phalam, both is endless. The only way to come out of is to claim. Hanta chet manyate hantu, hataschet manyate hatam, ubhau tau na vijanitah, nayam hanti na hanyate. Chidavasa does. Kartrutvam, identification with the organs of action. Consciousness is identification or this reflected consciousness. Mind is the identification of the identification with the organs of action. But mind is inert. How can it have an identification? It is the karta is a conscious being. Yes, correct. So that is Chidabhasa only. Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa is always where the Chidabhasa manifests. There is identity with that. No reflection can be away from the medium. Reflection medium are one. You cannot separate. So you manifest in the mind that Chidabhasa, and then there will be I sense in the mind and I sense in the organ of action. So Chidabhasa says, I am Karta. And then Bhokta. Same mind identification will be there automatically as a Chidabhasa. Then identifying with sense organs. And then whatever you experience, then give rise to a dukkham, pain or pleasure through senses. So you say I am Bhokta also. As a Bhokta you experience, I am saying. So this is purely, but it may be true that I am Karta Bhokta. Never, sir. Never. It is undergoing change? Yes. You are Karta means that's a generic term, sir. As a Karta means you are a runner, you are a walker, you are a talker, right? You are a eater. Changing? So what is changing is not I. I am a changeless. And that is there in a waking. That is there in a deep sleep. That is there in a dream. Dream Karta is different because identifying with dream mind, dreams, organs of action, and doing dream action with that body, dream body, entirely different, because this body is just sleeping, not even shaking a thumb also, and that is doing lot. It's entirely different dream body, identification with different body, different senses, organs of action, and that does a lot of things in dream. Definitely it's not waking Karta. So undergone change, and then a Kartrutvam goes away. So it is all mind. Mind is resolved, Kartrutvam resolved. Mind is resolved, Bhoktrutvam resolved. So but then if it is mind, why do you say I? Because you manifest in mind, identified with the mind as a Chidabhasa, and you take yourself as a Chidabhasa, Jiva, limited entity, and you don't know you are limitless consciousness, and therefore this is how it happens. And then as a Karta Bhokta, well, this thing, if you want to get rid of it, understand you are a Chaitanyam, that's it. You are Atma, which is limitless. You are not where you manifest. You are all pervading. Where you manifest, you should not identify with that. You are a limitless space. You don't say that I am in part space. Yeah, the whole part is in space. In fact, the part when it is resolved, then also space was there. Because the part was not born, you were there. Right there. So you are limitless consciousness. Only when mind arises, well, you appear as though enclosed, avachinnak. And not knowing you are limitless, well, you identify also and say, I am mind. That is Shuru. And then you are, I am senses, I am organ of action. Then you say, I am a doer also. Identification with the speech. Swami says, I am a speaker. This is how it is. Kartrutvam, Bhoktrutvam is purely ignorance. So Bhashyakara says, Natvama evam asi hetu phalatmakaha. You are not this Karta Bhokta. Anyway, and this is we'll stop here, but almost we completed. A little bit is there in 16th Karika Bhashyam. We'll see that, and then move to 17th Karika. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.